Hello and welcome to English Stories with Louisa. I'm your host, Louisa, and I'm thrilled to have you join me on this journey of exploring fascinating stories, learning new things, and improving your English skills. In this channel, we'll dive into a world of captivating tales, from classic literature to modern narratives, all presented in a fun and engaging way. So sit back, relax, and let's get started on this adventure together.
He waited 9 years to ruin his sister's wedding day. Some people live by the saying, the best revenge is living well. Then there are others who believe the best revenge is a dish served 9 years later, cold, and with a side of hair removal cream. This is a story about a brother, a sister, a high school prank gone too far, and a wedding day that was about to go horribly, gloriously wrong. If you've ever had a sibling rivalry that went a little too far, or dreamed of getting the ultimate revenge, hit that like button, subscribe, and get ready for a story that proves patience really is the ultimate weapon. This story takes us back to a small town, a place I called home for many years. It was the kind of town where everyone knew everyone, and a good neighbor was worth their weight in gold. I was lucky enough to live next door to a family with 2 kids, a boy and a girl. Let's call them Liam and Jessica. They were about 2 years younger than me, and they were, for the most part, good kids, but they had a dynamic, a never-ending, escalating war of practical jokes. Over the years, the pranks were pretty harmless. A water balloon attack on a hot day, a whoopee cushion on a chair, the usual stuff. As I got older, I became good friends with their dad and with Liam. He was a great kid, always looking for odd jobs to earn a little spending money, and I was happy to give them to him. As they got into high school, though, something shifted. The pranks between Liam and Jessica stopped being funny and started getting mean. It was like they were a prelude to something bigger, something more hurtful. The tipping point came on Liam's prom night. Prom is a big deal in a small town. It's the highlight of the year for a high school kid. Liam had a date, a new suit, and he was excited. He was going to look great. But Jessica, with a cold, calculated cruelty that was entirely uncalled for, decided to pull the ultimate practical joke. The night before prom, she snuck in the bathroom and, without him knowing, added hair removal cream to his shampoo bottle. I can still picture him coming out of the bathroom the next morning. His hair was patchy, with huge, glaring bald spots. The look on his face wasn't one of anger. It was one of utter devastation. The humiliation was so complete, so public. His big night was ruined before it even began. He had to shave his head completely bald. He ended up going to prom, but he was a shell of himself. He had lost his confidence, and the look in his eyes was one of deep-seated hurt. A few months later, I moved away for a job. I kept in touch with Liam through emails and texts, but the distance meant I didn't see the day-to-day aftermath of the prank. He finished college, got a great job, and seemed to move on with his life. But in our conversations, every now and then, there would be a mention of it. A quiet, almost casual comment about getting even. I always took it as a joke. I had no idea just how serious he was. Fast forward 9 years. My wife and I got a wedding invitation. It was from Jessica. We decided it would be a nice trip to go back home. A chance to see my family and have a fun night out. My kids were excited. My wife was excited. And I was looking forward to seeing my old friends and neighbors. The wedding was going to be a huge, extravagant affair. It was paid for by the parents, the groom's parents, and the groom. No expense was spared. The venue was beautiful. The food was going to be top tier, and everything was perfectly planned. On the morning of the wedding, my wife and I were getting ready when we got a text message from Liam's dad. The text was short and to the point. Wedding is canceled. The reception will go on as a fun party. My wife and I were completely confused. We called my brother, who had taken our kids to a lake cabin, to check if he knew anything. He didn't. We arrived at the party venue, a little disoriented, and the place was still bustling. The food was out, the music was playing, and people were mingling. But something was missing: the bride. As we started to catch up with old friends, the story came out. A hushed rumor at first, then a full-blown explanation. It was Liam. He had finally gotten his revenge. The night before the wedding, he had snuck into the house where his sister was staying and, with the same cold, calculated precision, added hair removal cream to her shampoo bottle. The results were catastrophic. The bride, Jessica, the woman who had spent months planning her perfect day, woke up with large, glaring bald spots. She was completely distraught. The humiliation was too much to bear. She refused to be seen, refused to go on with the wedding. The ceremony was canceled, and what was supposed to be the most perfect day of her life turned into a reception-only party for everyone but the bride. I saw Liam there at the party with his parents. The look on his face wasn't one of smug triumph, but a quiet satisfaction. When I talked to him, he was calm, almost philosophical. He had been waiting for the right moment, the most important day of her life. The day she would feel the most beautiful, the most confident, was the perfect parallel to his prom night. It was a mirroring of the exact humiliation she had inflicted upon him. His parents, surprisingly, were understanding. They said they were upset about the situation, but they understood. They felt what Jessica had done all those years ago was equally wrong. They had lived with the quiet, simmering resentment for 9 years. They knew that an act of public humiliation required an act of equally public revenge. My wife and I had a great night. We caught up with old friends, enjoyed the good food, and shared a laugh over the absolutely brutal, yet perfectly fitting revenge Liam had served his sister. We left the party feeling a sense of deep satisfaction. It was a bizarre, hilarious, and justifiably cruel act of karma. The beauty of the revenge was in its cold, unwavering patience. He didn't act out a flash of anger. He acted out a long-held sense of injustice. He had waited for the perfect moment to deliver a lesson she would never forget. It's a strange thing to witness, a revenge plot that takes almost a decade to unfold. But it proves a simple truth. If you're going to treat people with disrespect, especially those you love, you never know when or how, the universe will come back to bite you. And sometimes it takes a bald-headed man with a long memory to serve justice. If this story gave you a good, solid laugh, smash that like button and tell us in the comments, what's the most satisfying revenge you've ever witnessed? And of course, subscribe for more stories just like this.